Welcome back, Shalligators. I know I'm still away, but that's okay. My vacay is wrapping up soon and I'm gonna be back in California in an environment you can recognize, but who cares? Let's talk more today about Love is Blind, because yesterday, oh boy, you guys had so much to say about Love is Blind, and we did a video on how Danielle, I used to be fat pity party Danielle, is actually the most toxic person on there because she's so covert about it. She's a narcissist and she's using this constant card, this pitiful me card all the time to manipulate her, I was gonna say fiance, her husband, Nick, into doing whatever she wants. There's a lot of gaslighting and all of this going on. But today I want to talk about her in a different sort of way. And I want to use her as an example of what not to do. And I want to use Deepti as an example of what to do in terms of leaving the past behind. Now, both of these women came on the show, and it seemed like a lot of people, a lot of the women came on the show after losing a bunch of weight and being kind of saying like, you know, I kind of have this like fat girl mentality still, and I want to be able to connect with someone based on my personality. Like, I don't want my flaws and my body image and blah, 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 and am I constantly thinking like, does they want to fuck me? I don't want all of this to get in the way. I really want to connect with someone on like a deep emotional level. Deepti was able to do this in a fantastic way, and Danielle, she took the off-ramp to crazy town. So we're gonna break all this down because one of you guys said it so right. Danielle has no business being a wife. She needs to be in therapy. Like, she is in no way fully formed enough to contribute to a relationship. And we talk about this all the time. Relationships actually aren't 50-50. They're 100-100. You can't be half of a whole if you don't know what half you are. And it seems obvious from Danielle's behavior, she doesn't know. And if she does know who she is, she doesn't like herself. Deepti, on the other hand, has come a long way, not only physically, but emotionally. And she was strong enough to look that dipshit shake. By the way, never trust a veterinarian who doesn't have any pets. Did you notice that? That's weird. That's weird. She was strong enough to look Shake in the face and be like, I deserve better. You might be a 99, but I deserve 100. And I think we can all agree he was not a 99. It sucks. He's a fairly attractive guy. He's a cute guy, but he's just such an asshat. Like, he's such a cringe lord clown. Her brother released a statement on Instagram, like slamming him, and said it best, you're a loser. I love the term loser because there's no positive way to spin a loser. Like a clout chaser, it's like, hey, at least I'm ambitious. A loser? Ugh. So I'm going to show you what each woman did differently and why they resulted in different outcomes. Although it's easy to look at them on paper and be like, well, Danielle's married and Deepti's single. Honey, it's not a win to be in a bad relationship, and it's not a loss to be single and at peace and unbothered. We have got to change the script on that. We have got to stop romanticizing a ring on our finger as truly a happy ending. It's where some problems end when you get married, but it's where so many more potential problems begin. But when you're whole and okay and healthy on your own, that's a happy ending. That's the beginning of a ton more happiness, not problems. We're going to break it all down. But before we get started, if you guys want to chat with me one-on-one, I am coming back off vacation. I've got all the time in the world for you. Head over to my website, shallonlester.com, where you can connect with me and I get back to you in a day if you need ASAP help. Also, if you want a little video shout out, a custom video from me and you live in the US, go to cameo.com. If you're abroad, you can go to memmo.me and request a custom video there. It's a good fun gift for somebody, a pep talk for yourself, anything like that. Also, we've got some links down below to help Ukraine. We're focusing on Bethany Frankel's charity, Be Strong. She's doing some really amazing things, setting up refugee camps out there. Also, some animal charities, not only that is providing aid to the refugee camps, like animal aid and people aid, but also supplying the shelters and people, pet owners who are in Ukraine currently, providing them with resources and food and water and all that stuff, because we have to take care of the people, but we can't leave our little fur babies behind, you know? We're in charge of them. But you guys know that, and you guys are fantastic, and you guys are helpers. Okay, let's talk about these people on this show, because oh my God, what a fucking mess. Okay, so let's talk about how to leave the past behind. I think we talked about this in conjunction with like plastic surgery. The plastic surgery is great. I've had my edits, you know, I'm actually edit free right now. This is like my analog face. It's not my favorite, but like I dissolved all my filler and everything. But we talk about plastic surgery like if you're at a 99, let's go back to that, and you are like one tick away from being like, I would just love it if my face was a little more balanced, or if my boobs were like 2 cup sizes smaller, my back didn't hurt, or if they're 2 cup sizes bigger and they balanced out my hips. Great. But when we start looking at plastic surgery, like if I get my nose done, all the things that are wrong with my life now won't be wrong anymore. Every guy's gonna love me. I'm never gonna be anxious at a party, blah, 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 blah. If we see it as this like, this magic wand that we're gonna wave over our life and everything bad will disappear and never return, holy shit, are we in for a really bad, because that's not true. You cannot fix something internal by changing something external. And we see this so clearly in Danielle versus Deeps. Danielle talked almost endlessly. I mean, it is the only thing I know about her. I don't know her hobbies. I don't know if she plays volleyball, if she rides horses, if she likes ska music. I have no idea. The only thing I know about her is that she used to be fat. That's it. She used to be fat and she's super insecure. She's super awkward because these are the labels she has given to herself. I'm really awkward. I'm really insecure. I'm really awkward. I'm so awkward. I'm insecure. Yay. Boring people are bored. Interesting people have interests. Danielle is boring to me because she's one-dimensional. Pain is actually pretty one-dimensional. When we're in pain, we think we're the most interesting person in the world. I want to tell you about this pain and more pain and more pain, blah, blah. It's actually very difficult to connect with someone like that because it's like, connect to what? Your interests, your hobbies, any forward motion in your life? No, you're not moving forward. You're moving backwards because that's all you can talk about. All you can do is define yourself by what's wrong with you. That is not the presence of a personality. That's the absence of one. I went on a date with this guy. I think I brought him up recently. And he was just a contrarian. I called him like a Bart Simpson. Like he had like the Marxist fist as his cell phone background and it said resist. And I was like, oh, resist what? And he's like, like resist. I said, resist what? Cinnamon dental floss? How much sugar there is in ketchup? Resist what? He couldn't name anything, but everything I brought up that I liked, from country music to hedgehogs to travel, everything I brought up, that's stupid, 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 stupid. And I finally said, you negging everything doesn't create a personality for yourself. That's not actually a personality. A personality is the presence of passion. It's the presence of you liking things. It is not the absence of you liking things. It's not you cutting things down. It's not a hole, it's a hill. And I look at Danielle, there was no second date, surprise, surprise. I look at Danielle, I'm like, the same thing. If she was like, I used to be fat, but you know what? I fell in love with fitness and I love challenging myself at the gym. And it's like, I fucking love this Peloton bike. I get up every morning, I'm like, Peloton. I never heard her say anything like that. Maybe she did. Of course, we don't hear everything. But she did not flip the bad, being fat and losing weight. She never flipped that into anything good. Even though she is a champion over her body and over her health and she took control, she doesn't see herself like that. And she doesn't speak about it as a champion narrative. Even the good things that she's accomplished, she only focuses on the bad parts of it. I used to be fat. That's not what you say. I am now fit. That is how you phrase it. I used to be this, I used to be that. I don't say, I used to be poor. I say, I am now rich. That's what I say. And because Danielle chooses to define herself in the negative, I used to be fat, I used to be fat, she's living in the past. Deeps, she brings it up and like, Danielle's got a great body, like she's fine. Deeps brings it up and then she lets it go. She is very, very present and she's very focused on her relationship and building the relationship in real time and not constantly playing this card of, well, I used to be fat and I'm so insecure, I'm so awkward. Of course she's awkward and of course she's insecure. Aren't we all? Aren't we all about our bodies in some degree or another? But she doesn't define herself like that. One thing people like Danielle fail to realize, everyone has an issue. Everyone has an issue, baby girl. Everyone feels not amazing about their body. Everyone used to be a something. Do you think I was the coolest cat in town when I was 12? I was a dork. I was such a dork. I was such a dork. Am I a dork now? Don't answer that. No. Like, I remember, Ellen Page, who was in Juno, I forget, Elliot Page, whatever, gave this interview about how, because they're trans or whatever. It's like, puberty was hard for me. Oh, really? Because it was great for the rest of us. Like, no shit, it was hard for you. It's just such a stupid, myopic thing to say. Like, yeah, man. Like, but that typifies that kind of selfishness. It's like, do you not understand that like other people feel this way too? But you, and I don't mean Ellen Page, we're done talking about her. Yeah. We're talking about Danielle. It's like other people have insecurities also. Other people need reassurance too. And that's what makes you a shitbag. That's what makes you really difficult to date and love and be around. Not that you have insecurities. It's that you refuse to see anyone else's needs beyond your own. Not that you feel awkward about your body or you had this history. The fact that you still emotionally inhabit that place. We've talked about getting over being bullied in the past. I asked you, what is that bully saying to you today? Well, no, I mean, I don't talk to them now, like this was in high school. Okay, so that has stopped. That was a finite thing, right? Who's keeping it alive then? The bully? Oh, no, you are. Shallon, don't victim blame. Hey, we are responsible for our own mental well-being. You know what? And if I'm victim blaming by encouraging you to take a look at your role in the outcomes of your life and your role in your own fucking thoughts, is that really an incendiary thing to say? Hey, you're responsible for your own thoughts. How dare you tell me I need to think my own things with my own mind and my thoughts and my mind palace? Is that incendiary? If you find that so triggering, you want to be a victim. And you know what? You can get off this channel. We aren't the people for you. We have been victimized by life. That happens. That's just the way it goes. We are not, however, victims. That's not who we are. We're champions here. We create champion narratives at the risk of being a little bit braggy even. We do not inhabit victim narratives. So here's how we move on from the past. Like we were talking about the bullying, who exactly is keeping you in this box? Okay? I used to be fat. First of all, how many people who know you now, who are in your life now, knew you when you were fat? I mean, maybe it's a lot of them. Maybe you're still in your hometown and your family. Okay, that's fine. But maybe it isn't. Maybe it actually isn't 100% of people, okay? But let's say that it is. Everyone knew you when you were fat. Well, I can't outrun it. They all knew. Okay, who is in your life that wants you to be in that bad emotional place to the point where they refuse to see you as thin and fit? Who is that exactly? Well, I mean, I'm not saying that that's what they think, but like they know I used to be fat. No. I want you to answer that question. I want you to have an answer for that question to justify this victim narrative that you got going on, right? Because if you're in this, I used to be fat, I can't move on, that tells me that there's people who don't want you to move on, because if you wanted to move on and everyone else wanted you to move on, you would have moved on, correct? But if you're saying, oh, no, there's all these outside people who are like, but you used to be fat. Are there? I'm going to go out on a limb and say probably not. I don't think your family would want you to be unhealthy. Now, of course, we all have toxic family, of course. Does your best friend want you to be healthy? I liked you better when you were fat. Is someone saying that to you? Why are they your friend? Look, you're going to have to go down two different paths here. Either no one is saying this, and I have to accept that the only person who actually actively is saying this to me is me. And so I'm kind of becoming my own worst enemy. So we're going to dismantle that in a second. Okay. Or no. There's people who keep doing this to me, who keep calling me gay or retarded or fat or whatever horrible term that they're telling you. Then why are those people in your life? The vast majority of you guys here on this channel are adults. I think it's like 4% that are under 18. It's a very small percentage. You're an adult and you have not only the right, the obligation to curate your tribe. Of course, there's some people we really can't get away from that much. But we can certainly limit our exposure to them. We can. And if you don't believe that, if you're like, no, I can't, then again, here we go in that victim narrative. This is not the place for you. If you truly want to be better, you have to accept that you have control over the outcomes. This shit walks hand in hand. I have never met a happy person who doesn't feel like they have power over their own life. Never. It is diametrically opposed to think, I'm really happy, my life is great, I have no control over it. I have no fucking control. Even children aren't happy when they have no control. It's the blue cup, chicky tendies. They want what they want. I'm wearing the Paw Patrol shoes or I'm not fucking leaving. Like, they have their lines in the sand, their corners of power that they need. So look, you got to make a choice. This is this a bit more of a wake-up call video than you were hoping? Do you think it was just going to be some like live, laugh, love affirmations? We're going to get there though. Don't you worry. First, we have to come to that ugly, icky truth that we are responsible for our thoughts. We are the architects of our happiness and of our misfortunes. So, now that we've looked at the truth, well, no one actually calls me fat. And yeah, it was embarrassing when I was fat. I mean, I'm going through that right now after losing weight. It's like I'm looking back on the times when I'm like prancing around and feeling foxy. And I'm like, you didn't look foxy. You look like a big hefty bag full of soup. And I have to stop myself and I say, Shallon, no, you didn't. Were you your best self? No. Were you your most authentic self then? No. But did people still love you? Yeah, I caught a bunch of dicks. You know, it's that Amy Schumer line, I'm 168 and I can catch a dick whenever I want. Love it. I was not my best, but I still had so many people cheering for me. And now that I am my best, they're cheering even harder. They're so proud of me. So why am I continuing this narrative that's not serving me? Well, for someone like Danielle, it is serving her. We don't stay in a space, emotional space, a romantic space, a physical space. We don't stay in a house that doesn't work if we have other options. We don't. When people keep doing something over and over, even though we look at it and we're like, what the fuck are you doing? It makes sense to them. They are getting some emotional payout from it. Danielle, massive payout from her victim narrative. Massive payout. We talked about this in yesterday's video. It's this concept of when I'm in pain, I have the right to rule the roost. Victims turn into bullies very quickly because their pain anoints them with this superiority. No one understands. You're not there for me. I need. It's like they're a house on fire. So if she were to flip it and be like, you know what? I used to be fat. Fucking look at me now. I look bomb. And she does. She looks bomb. She's gorgeous. Then, I lose this card to play. Every time my fiance has a need of his own, I can't be like, but I'm so awkward. I'm in pain. I have to be like, you have a need? I want to hear it. Tell me. I have to put my needs on hold. I have to pause and I have to plug in as an actual partner. That sounds like a lot of work and like less attention for me and like less like I get to do whatever I want because he might ask me something, like he might need something from me and I might have to like do it. You should not be married. You should not be married, sweetheart. You should be a patient, Go to the Hoffman method for a month. Do some inpatient therapy. I mean, not like, there's nothing wrong with that. I would love to go to like an emotional rehab and just work on myself for a month. That would be amazing, right? Come out such a better, fully formed person, a better partner to someone. That's how you show you love someone. I'm going to step back. I'm going to work on myself. Deepti did it right. She didn't inhabit that victim space. She inhabited a champion space. Even just the way she carried herself, the way she moved, you could tell, like, we're women and it's like, we can see, we can like read each other's thoughts. Like, I knew when she was like getting in her bikini in Mexico that like, that must have been difficult for her. Like, just kind of the way like her shoulders were, I would have been the same way. It's like, you're on TV, it's a high def camera, you're like, holy shit. But she was like, I don't care. I'm moving through this. It doesn't mean I don't feel it. It doesn't mean I don't acknowledge it. It just means I don't give it the power to control myself. It just means I refuse to give it the power to control me and to block out what I'm experiencing in this amazing situation. I will no longer let my issues keep me from being present. Because when we're not present, well, where are we? Right? If we're like zoning out, where are we? We are either in the past, ruminating, or we're in the future, catastrophizing and full of anxiety. Basically, it's one of the two. Or even if we're in the future daydreaming in a positive way, whatever we're daydreaming about, maybe it could be found in the present if we would plug in a little bit more. Deepti was present. Danielle was not. And it showed in how their relationships went. And again, this isn't about outcome. This isn't about, well, one girl's got a ring on her finger and the other one doesn't. When I say outcome, I mean one girl is engaged in a toxic, manipulative marriage, poor Nick, and the other one stood up for herself, free, single, unbothered, I deserve better, bye. That's an outcome. That's a win. And it stems from one being a victim and the other one being a champion. So here's what we have to do. Look at your origin story. My origin story that I shied away from forever was I grew up with a single mom. Times were tight, sometimes. And in my town, times were not tight for people. Times were very loose and easy. So here's what you do. You turn your origin story into your best story. My origin story was growing up with a single mom, which at the time and where I lived, wildly bizarre. Like no one was a single parent. Now it's like dad turns into mom, blah, blah, blah. It's not a thing at all. Where I grew up, like in my extremely affluent, like California suburb, no. And my mom wasn't just like a single mom. She was like a single mom who was jet setting around the world. And so she was like Angelina Jolie, like beautiful and glamorous and like just everything. And like that was just not the wave. And so it instilled me with a lot of like anxiety about that. And I really didn't like talking about my past or anything. I felt a lot of trepidation about it, you know? But then I realized that's not my worst story. That's my best story. That story, the fact that I grew up with a single mom and the fact that no, we didn't vacation in like Hawaii or Disney World or on a cruise. We went to fucking Africa. We went to Egypt. We went to Bali when I was like 8. Like we adventure traveled. Okay. First of all, that imbued me with so much empathy, so much sophistication and worldliness, a sense of adventure, a sense of curiosity. I also appreciate money. I appreciate hard work. I appreciate other people doing something nice for me because there wasn't a ton of people in my family, you know? So when someone would help out, that was hugely significant. People who didn't have those circumstances might have not learned those lessons as easily or at all. Because look, we can't change what happened, but we can change what it meant. And so I now look at my origin story as my favorite story. The reason I am so bold is because my mom was mom and dad and uncle and grandpa. She was everything. There was nothing she couldn't do, from changing like a tire to buying houses to whipping up shrimp scampi. Like the woman could do it all. And so I look at myself, I'm like, well, I can do it all. I mean, that's just what I do. I don't need anyone to come save me. No one came and saved her. And she's a badass. She's a weapon. So, okay. What positive thing came out of something that we priorly might have viewed as negative? Look at being fat. Well, what was great about being fat, Shallon? You know what? You have the opportunity now to confront your body. That's what helped me. Like being fat last year was sucky, but that come to Jesus moment when I'm like, I am fat. Like I am too fat for me to be comfortable. I'm not someone else's version of fat. I may be someone else's version of thin. That's great. That's their metric. Mine says this isn't flying anymore. I was lucky enough, blessed enough to have the opportunity to get really real about my health. And some people, they have that moment. And I was in the hospital, not because I was fat, but because I had not been treating my body well, I believe. Like I was drinking too much and I was eating poorly and I wasn't sleeping well. And just, I'm kind of a sensitive person. Like all that shit added up. My body was like, you're done, actually, you're done. I was lucky enough to confront that now at this age where I'm resilient enough and I can bounce back and I have the money to fix things versus having it happen when the consequences are much more dire. I felt grateful that happened to me. But not at first. Not at first. I was laying in a hospital bed for 2 days. Why is this happening? Why is this happening to me? Why? And then I switched how I was saying the word why. Not why, but why? Why is this happening? What am I supposed to learn? Why am I here? Why did God, life, the universe, whatever, why did it bring me here? Because I am standing in front of a wall that says something. What does it say? I talk to you guys about this all the time. You submit questions to me, we talk. It never comes down to, I didn't know. I didn't know that's what the deal was. That's what the dynamic was. That he had a girlfriend. I didn't know. It always comes down to, I knew, and I didn't want to face it. I didn't want to accept that he just wasn't into me, that he was DMing that ex, that he was never really going to become a professional gamer. You have the opportunity to stand in front of that wall and read what the fuck it says, okay? Or not. You can take the Deepti route and enlighten yourself and make your origin story your best story, or you can take Danielle's route and you can live in the past. But you're probably thinking, okay, well, how do I do that? Affirmations. Affirmations. Our mind creates our body. Our body creates our mind, right? They work in concert together. When I feel fat, I'm miserable. Like I'm just this black cloud. Like even just this trip to St. Bart's. I was with the same crew last year in Mexico in this like gorgeous, I said resort, but it wasn't a resort. It was our friend's house. He's like, it's crazy. And it was a really difficult trip for me. I didn't enjoy it. It was actually awful. And it was because I didn't feel good about myself. I was the fattest person there and I felt invisible. And it's like, okay, maybe some of that was the reactions I was getting from people, but a vast majority of those reactions were predicated on my own attitude. I didn't want attention. I didn't want people looking at me. I didn't want guys flirting with me because I didn't feel okay. I wasn't myself. And I was even talking to one of the girls who was on the trip, Renata, and she's like, I remember you saying that last year. Like, I remember you saying like, this isn't me. Like this, I'm not myself right now. And I don't feel okay. Now 30 pounds down, St. Bart's. And I was really nervous to go on this trip because I was associating those people, the people who I'm with that negative outcome. And I realized it had nothing to do with them. And shame on me for localizing that on my friends. Like they were responsible for my bad time last year. They weren't. I was. And I came on this trip and they all said to me at one point or another, you're so different. You seem so different. And I'm like, yeah, I'm thinner. And they're like, no, that's not it. Like it's you. Like you look fantastic. And it's true. I carry myself differently. But the weight is only part of it. One thing I was doing on the run up to this trip was affirmations because I was so anxious. Like I was at the point where I was like hoping it would get canceled. You know, I'm like, is that a hurricane I hear? Oh, no, it's just a propeller plane. Okay, no, that's fine. I was like really trepidatious about it. And so I'm like, look, the trip is happening. You can go into this with a bad fucking attitude and what you're fearing, you're going to create. That is how it works. That is how manifestation works, right? Your thoughts create your reality. Your thoughts create your words and words create reality as well, right? So I launched into some affirmations. The thing with affirmations, you don't want to put any sort of negative word in there because the universe doesn't hear it. It doesn't hear a word like, I am not poor anymore. It cuts out the not and it cuts out the anymore. It only hears like 4 word words. And it hears, I am poor. And the universe says, your wish is my command. What you want to say is, I am rich. I lend. I do not borrow, right? So instead of me saying, I'm not fat anymore, because that's what I was thinking. I'm not fat anymore. All the universe was hearing and all my mind was picking up on was fat. And I gained some weight before I went on the trip. But when I started doing that affirmation, switching it to, I am thin, I am fit, I love my body, I feel so good. Just even saying that right now, I'm getting this like tingle in my head of relaxation. Why? Cognitive dissonance. We talk about this all the time. Your mind wants your circumstances to mesh. You know, we want these to be one and the same. And we talked about this in a video on how to get over a love of your life. And what I said was lean in. Instead of telling yourself, I don't love him, it's fine, I hate him, he's horrible. Say the opposite. I'm gonna love him forever. Because then your mind is like, okay. So I want you to come up with some positive affirmations. I want you to come up with, let's say 3, okay? And I want you to have one in different places in your house. Maybe one in your car, like put it on the flap that comes down. And like write them out. When I was truly going like through my sort of manifestation revolution, when I was like, I don't know, 24 or something, my house, my friends were like, it looks like a self-help book exploded all over here. There's like phrases and blah, blah, blah. But I needed it. I could feel that I was in this push, like I was giving birth to my future in a way. And I'm like, I need everywhere I look, I need to be reminded. I need to stay focused. I have an abundance. I can do this. I am this. I am that. It was so important to me. So whenever I need to go back there, thank God I have that muscle memory of affirmations and knowing how well manifestation works. And this is the time for you to do it too. Now look, I'm going to say upfront, you don't need to believe these things right now. You don't need to believe them right now. Okay? Just hold on. I want you to write them down. 3 different things. I am, they're positive, and most importantly, they're present tense. I have an abundance. My body is fantastic. I love myself. Something simple, okay? All my friends are supportive. Everyone is cheering me on. Don't worry about if it's going to look dorky. Fuck them. If someone doesn't like your manifestations, fuck them. They don't belong in your life. Smoke them out. So I want you in different places to see different things, and I want you to repeat it and try to say it out loud, not just in your mind, say it out loud, okay? At first, it's going to feel silly. It will. And it's going to feel fake. I love my body. Ugh. Okay, but I've got this stomach. Well, no, but I have the cankles. Keep saying it. I love my body. 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 Okay, I love my body. I love my body. Great. You know what's happening in your mind? Your mind is loosening a knot. It is loosening that cognitive dissonance knot. Your body and your mind want to be in harmony. They do. Your thoughts and your actions want to mesh. And even if you don't feel it right now, you literally fake it till you make it. We talk about this in terms of confidence, how to be confident. The secret to being a hot girl is simply deciding that you are one. I remember when I was like super anxious, like someone was stalking me when I lived in New York, and I was like absolutely undone by it. Like I was undone. And I'm like, I just want to stay in the house all day long. Like I want to, and the situation had resolved itself, but I had, I guess, what would be like PTSD. Like I was like a turtle without a shell. And my therapist, John, I had such a crush on him. He's like, I want you to get out and I want you to like exercise every day, go for a walk. And I'm like, I don't want to. And he's like, who the hell cares if you want to? Why do you think you need to want to in order to do it? And I was like, what? He's like, that's irrelevant right now. That's irrelevant, right? Stop thinking you have to organically want to do everything you do. Do you want to sort your recycling? No. Do you want to do your taxes? No. But you do it. You do it because you know it has to be done. Don't take any sort of different approach to your emotions. Zombie walk out the door. I remember this. Zombie walk. One foot, then this foot. We zip up our coat. We make it to the subway. Here we fucking go. You just do it. And tell yourself, I'm going to hate this the whole time. Okay, fine. You're probably going to hate it less than you think. And eventually, that 3rd or 4th zombie walk to do this thing, to take the walk to go to Pilates, your cognitive dissonance will start to ease. Your mind will say, yeah, we're the girl who gets back out there. Yeah, we're resilient. Your mind wants that. Even if you spent a lifetime being like, I'm a loser, I'm a fatty. No, your mind is actually not hardwired that way. It's not hardwired to want that. It's like really obese people who eat nothing but like Malamars and beef jerky. Their body is not hardwired to want those things. But I done miss eating it. Okay, but your body actually doesn't miss that. Your body is loving this kale salad. You might not be there yet, but your body actually is. And it is the exact same thing with the thoughts that we feed our body. So zombie walk on out through this fog of doubt, through this fog of negative tape loops, and slowly but surely you're going to switch with these affirmations. Say it again, say it again, say it again. It's muscle memory. You're also going to try to cultivate positive spirals. I did a whole video on this a long time ago. It's very easy for us to negatively spiral, right? I mean, it's off to the races, right? You know, we wear the wrong thing to a party and suddenly, someone's burnt our house down because we suck so bad. I know that. Try, as an experiment, devote 5 minutes a day to laying there and cultivating a positive spiral about something. Make it something minor that you don't have a huge emotional attachment to. Okay, I'm gonna go take my dog to the dog park today. Now, if you're like me, you would catastrophize. He's probably gonna get in a fight with that German Shepherd, and then I'm gonna step and poop like I did the last 2 times. Oh my God, and that horrible guy is gonna be there and he's just gonna try to talk to me all about like crypto, and I'm like, oh my God, I just wanna go home. Okay, let's try to positively spiral. I'm gonna go to the dog park. Ooh, Cowboy is being great, and he's playing. He actually dropped the ball when I said drop it, and I was ready to throw it again, and he brought it back. Drop it, and he dropped it. That's good. Very good boy. Speaking of boys, there's kind of a hot guy over there. Ooh, is that a hot dad? And he's got the cute French bulldog. Okay. And afterwards on the way home, we're going to drive by that frozen yogurt place, and it just opened. Oh my gosh, let's go get a treat. It sounds silly. And it is silly. The beginning of everything always is kind of silly. When we first start to do anything, walking, silly, driving, silly, having sex, very silly. We weren't great at it, but we did it. You might just now be learning positive spirals. This might be the first time anyone has ever suggested this to you. And you know what? I think it is because I invented them. So it's okay if it's silly, and it's okay if it's minor, and it's okay if as far as you got in that fantasy is the frozen yogurt, and then your mind's like, okay, but you shouldn't be eating that, you're fat, blah, blah, blah. Then that's where you stop. That's where you stop. You manifest until your mind's like, I can't do this. Okay. That's our boundary. Next time, we're maybe going to get a little bit further in, a little bit further in, a little bit further in. We're going to chip away at it. Look, you've spent how many years of your life chipping away at all the positivity in your body? You're not going to undo that in 24 hours. But you are going to make some progress. And the thing about making emotional progress and reframing how we see ourselves, it happens quicker than the negative. It really does. I know we were saying positive spirals are difficult, more difficult than the negative ones. But again, your body and your mind is hardwired to love you. It's hardwired to do good for you. I mean, your body's hardwired to keep your heart beating, keep breathing, right? That's automatic. So it's hardwired to do other positive things for you. It wants this. It's going to soak it up like a sponge. Cognitive dissonance. So you're going to make those affirmations. You're going to make some positive spirals. And now I want you to get granular. I want you to go around to people you love and trust and be like, do you think I'm lazy? And really say to them, hey, I want your honest answer. This is a safe space in the nest with the trust tree. I want your honest answer because I'm really trying to undo some negative tape loops in my life. And I want to know which loops in my life are like bullshit negative, but there's some that are like negative positive. Like, no, your mind saying, hey, you drink too much is valid. Okay. Like that is a loop we should keep. All right, but you're a piece of shit alcoholic, not really that helpful. So I want you to go to people you trust and I want you to ask them. But first you have to come armed with your tape loops. This is what I say to myself. I say, you're so lazy. No wonder you're not the number one YouTuber in the world. You're so lazy, just like Miss Crossgree said you were in 5th grade. Do you think that's true? See what your friends say. My friends would be like, no, you're not lazy. But you have a tendency to get off track. You know, like you get in these work jags and it's like work. And then you go on vacation and you're like, I'm not even checking my email for like 11 days, you know? So what I would like to see you have, Shallon, is more balance. Now, you know what? None of my friends said that to me. I came up with that just now because in some level in my brain, I know that that's the truth. And because I allowed my brain to give me that truth, it did. I don't need to ask my friends. I already knew the answer. But if you don't, and that's okay because sometimes our demon brain takes hold so much that we genuinely believe we're fat pieces of shit or whatever it is, we need someone to be like, I mean, first of all, you were fat, but you were never a piece of shit. Like you were just not focused on your body, but now you are. So why do you keep telling yourself? Why do you stay in that space? That's what you need to ask yourself. Why do you? Are you on the very toxic end of that question? Like Danielle, where you stay there because it's a card to play, it's a weapon against everyone else, a sword and a shield? Or is it because you got thin? And again, this thin thing is just an example. You changed and it didn't have this magic wand effect over every aspect of your life. And you're like, holy shit, now what? And maybe there's some things now to work on that aren't about the appearance. Is it because you don't know who you are without being the fat girl? That you're afraid to try things? So, okay, now is the time to create a personality. Because remember, like I was saying with the example with that date, a personality is not the absence of something. You don't have a personality because you're not fat. You have a personality because there's the presence of being really into CrossFit or beach volleyball or whatever that is. Do you see the difference? So now you've gotten rid of the bad, which is good. That's step number one. But now you have to import the good, okay? You have to import, we're not the hole, we're the hill. So what is the hill? This is up to you to figure out. This, though, is the fun part. This is the cool part. You know, when you've like cleaned out your closet and you're like, I have no clothes. Then you get to go shopping, right? Then you get to go shopping. If you have cleaned out some sort of emotional closet, what are you going to fill it with? What beautiful, positive things are you going to put in there to make that cleaning out worth it? I want to know your thoughts on this. We're going to be doing more Love is Blind videos. I'm going to do a video on the ick. What to do if you're just not attracted to someone. Can you create chemistry? And how to know if someone is not into you. Horrifying. But you know what? We're going to tackle it all. We're going to break it down. And I promise you, you're going to come out better on the other side. I hope you enjoyed this video, Shalligators. Like I said, if you want to connect with me, head to my website, shallonlester.com. And please feel free to check out those links below on ways to help Ukraine, not only the people, but the pups and the kittens as well. We'll see you next time.